Hey y'all, it is your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. We're gonna get started right now for this amazing teaching. Hey guys, it is your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration here. I am here because I have such an amazing teaching just for you. At least I feel like it's super amazing. I also have my friends over here on Instagram, right? So Instagram, hold on, forget it. Instagram is also here a part of this amazing conversation that I have today. So if you are watching live, hello, thank you for being here. If you're watching on the replay, let me know that you're watching on the replay. Hashtag replay so that I know that you were here with me and you were a part of the conversation, whether you were here live or not. So again, I am Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. And so tonight's conversation, God just put it on my heart, the activation. Right, the activation. This is not the first time that I have spoken about this particular topic, but I did speak about the activation in regards to, the healthy living, healthy lifestyle, those concepts. But tonight, I'm going to talk about it in a different manner. Okay. Now, the reason I'm gonna give you the backstory. So, a couple of months ago, I listened to a message from the late Dr. Miles Monroe. And if you know me, if you have ever watched any of my teachings that have ever referenced to Dr. Miles Monroe, you have absolutely positively heard me speak about the fact that he said that if there's certain things that just like really are pressed on you, that really are things that problems, things that you're like, yo, I wish I can fix this, then that means that you are operating in a system, okay, that is going to allow you to, like, hey, this is something that I really need to focus on. This is something that I really need to, this is a big problem. And so tonight's conversation, I had made a post earlier that a lot of people felt I was being mean. I was actually called mean. Someone inboxed me was like, girl, that's mean. And it's like, it's not mean. I mean, the comment that I made on social media was, we can ask God for anything, right? Anything. We can ask God for anything. I am not telling you any lies. We can ask God for anything. And I said, and that includes wisdom and common sense. Now, for some reason, the word common sense is very sensitive. And I know that, I had to go to God many a times because I'm like, God, these are things that people are not speaking about. No one is talking about this. No one is bringing you into the fold of this conversation. There are people out here who are not acting in a way that it makes sense. Okay. And for some reason, it's like when you start speaking about this, it really becomes a touchy subject. But you know what? I said, God, these are things that I know, others know, but the majority does not know. And if we continue to sit and operate in secrecy, then we are not being of service to anyone. So I want to be able to be of service. So I do ask you to, put aside how you feel about those words. If they trigger you, I do apologize in advance, but I am here to teach you. I'm here to help you so that you can have the life that you are meant to have, so that you can have the relationship with God and understand that God is in your corner all times, all day. This is not something that is exclusive to just a certain population of people, but it's exclusive to you. It's exclusive to you, to your family, to your friends, and to the people that are all around you, whether you know them directly or not. So, my friend Wisdom and her cousin, Common Sense, we're going to have a nice conversation tonight. Okay, can we do that? I hope we can. Now, I cannot see the comments right now, so I do apologize, but please share, because I do believe that this is the message that's going to really teach people, that's going to give them a level of understanding, because these are things that we really, really need to talk about, right? Thank you, Jen. I do see your comment, Jen. Thank you. I do try to be authentic. I do, and I try to do it out of love, but these are things that, guys, we got to talk about. We got to talk about it. All right. So God gave me the activation. So the activation is the action or the process of making something active. And then when I was really like, because I got my notes. I come ready, right? I come ready to teach, because that's what I do. So when I was really writing this down, God says something has to happen to ignite action. That's what activation is. Something has to happen that's going to ignite action. Action cannot happen. Activation cannot happen if nothing is happening. So this is the reason why this has been bothering me, and it probably bothers a lot of other people out there, but people are afraid to talk about this because these are, again, sensitive topics, and we don't want to be insulting to anyone. Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, if we are not speaking about how we activate, then we are not going to be able to see the different changes that we need. So we have to get the activation in our mindset, get the activation in our spirits, understand that God definitely wants to be an active participant in your life, and he therefore also needs you to be an active participant in your own life. This can't be a one-way street. This can't just be God doing everything. You got to do your part too. So when we say that we're going to activate, we're going to activate. Okay. So the first thing that I do want to talk on is the whole concept of wisdom. Now, I'm going to start with wisdom because wisdom is usually, it's not as frowned upon. But wisdom, God says in James 1, verse 5, if you need wisdom, ask God. It's just that simple. If you need wisdom, then you need to ask God. He will not rebuke you for asking. So there are people out here, and again, y'all know I've been talking about Dear Single in Love, my book, and I'm not, putting a plug in there, but I'm putting a plug in there. But Dear Single in Love, 8 Principles for the Woman Waiting for Her God-Ordained Purpose Mate, came out in 2019. And recently I have been doing a lot of groups with women, and we've been really diving into this topic. And the one thing that God said to me is that your husband, our husbands, okay, ladies, our husbands are going to be able to have problems. They're going to be able to be problem solvers. Okay. Now, the root of a problem solver is having wisdom. And if a man does not have the immediate knowledge to solve the problem, he is supposed to go to God to get the wisdom, which means he's going to get the instructions on how to solve this problem. Now, that problem could simply be you're a part of the solution, but he has to first go to God to get that wisdom. Right? So this is the reason why. And again, I'm not a religious person, but when we just think about the principles, take the principles and just apply that. Take everything else out of it, right? So we take the principles and say, all right, well, Jesus, every time Jesus, before he did anything huge, what did Jesus do? Jesus retreated somewhere into the mountains. He went alone. And what was he doing at that time? He went to go pray. He went to go get instructions. He went to go get wisdom. So these are things that, when we really start to think about it, it's like people always say to me, Tanisha, like, you're really, really smart. And what I come to realize, I'm not that smart. But what I have a lot of wisdom. And when I don't know something, I'm not afraid to go to God and ask God. Can I tell you, I finished high school at 16 years old. Everyone swears that I finished high school at 16 because I'm like this super genius. Now, like I said, I am smart. I do definitely admit that. But I had a point to prove at 15 years old. I wanted to finish high school at 16, and I went into high school with a whole plan. And so I said, God, how do I execute this plan? Again, at this point, I had no relationship. I didn't know that I had a relationship with God. I didn't know that He was navigating and giving me these answers. But I'm up here like, so who do I go to work on my schedule? All I had to do was have one person to work on my schedule, and they fixed my schedule the right way that will put me in the perfect position to be able to finish high school at 16 years old. That's called wisdom. I just asked for an answer, asked for help, and he gave it to me. Right? So for a lot of us, that is what we need to do. But remember, I said our friend common sense, the one sensitive topic that people don't like to talk about. So I really had to sit and I said, God, I'm gonna go sit. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna need you to sit me down and I'm gonna need you to show me where in the Bible. First of all, don't y'all know that the Bible mentions common sense over 18 times? Over. I know there's more if you look at different versions. So this is not something that people are teaching on. I wonder why. Why isn't no one talking about common sense? They're not talking about this in school. People really believe that everyone just naturally has common sense. And I used to believe that too. I used to believe, and I was one of those people that was under the impression everyone just has common sense and people just don't have it. They don't want to use the common sense. But you want to know what? Everyone does have common sense. But everyone has not activated that common sense. Everyone has not activated the common sense, guys. So when we don't activate it, then we are really operating at a loss. Like we already have an L. So when I look at Proverbs 8, first of all, I'm gonna need everyone just to read Proverbs 8. I think I'm gonna end up having to do just like a whole teaching just around Proverbs 8 because it talks about wisdom and common sense and all of that in just that one chapter. That one. Okay, so Proverbs 8 says in verse 14, common sense and success belongs to me. Insight and strength are mine. And like I said before, common sense is mentioned over 18 times in the Bible. But yet, this is one topic. I've been in many kind of churches, and I ain't never heard no kind of teaching on this. I think Dr. Miles Monroe might have been the only person that ever taught about this. Stay with me, guys. Stay with me because I'm this is going to help you. This is going to help you to also understand what's going on in the world. So because God has given us, right? So we got to go to God. We have to ask God, hey God, what's going on? How do I navigate this? So I think about a couple of a couple of months ago, we were having like crazy rainstorms in New York. Like the highways flooded like it's a pool. Okay. And there were people and I'm watching videos because on our highways they have cameras. So Department of Transportation, NYPD, they're sharing these videos of people on like the Major Deegan. Think about the Bronx. No, nothing against the Bronx, nothing against the Bronx, but I'm just using that as an example because that was one of the places that I saw this example. So they're on, Jenna, you're still watching. That's why I made that little insert. But people are on the highway. There are no cars, right? So if the person, I think I'm talking about the first person who's going into the pool, little car. We're not talking about no F-150s, big old Ram trucks, Escalades. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like a Honda Civic, okay? And these people got into their cars, stayed in their cars, which is a good thing. And instead of going back, because there were no cars behind them, it's not like there was like a whole bunch of traffic that they couldn't reverse, that they couldn't, pull to the side and slowly go back. There was no one behind them. And there was a pool in front of them. Okay. And I understand some of these people had to get to work. Some of them might have had to get to, picking up their children. So here they said, I'm going to drive into this pool of water. And so when I was having this conversation with people, I said, somewhere that didn't make sense. Why would you drive into a pool? But Tanisha, some of them might have had to get to work. You're right. Some people might have had to get to work. You're right about that. But please tell me, based off of the videos and the pictures that we see now of the aftermath, did that person get to work or not? Is that person going to get to work for the next couple of weeks? No, because their car is floating on the is floating on the Major Deegan because they didn't make it through. See, when I say those types of things, that is when I want people to start to have a conversation with God and say, God, what do I do? Because if you don't know, because if it's not activated and it just doesn't make sense, this is when you go to God and say, Lord, this doesn't look right. I don't think I should be driving my car into this pool of water. I understand, God, I have to get to work. I understand I might have to go get my children, but chances are, Lord, is this going to be the best solution? What I want people to get into the habit of is just inviting God into the conversation. And He is going to take away the stress, the aggravation, the fear, the worry, the anxiety, everything that you're dealing with. Because what those people did was, unfortunately, they did not utilize, they did not activate wisdom nor common sense, and they drove into a pool. Now you're frustrated because now you got to climb out and you're floating in water, debris all over. And again, we're talking about New York City sewer system is coming up. That's not someplace you want to be. And they have to now get out their cars. Now your car is flooded. You're not getting anywhere. People probably lost important documentations because their car is floating. And now they have to wait until all of the water now drains out for now the tow trucks to come find your car. Okay. Do you understand the stress that went on with that? Because we didn't go into God and have a conversation with the Lord first. Guys, this is all that I want us to start doing. And I don't want people to be angry and upset at the fact that I want us to do better. I want us to have the ability to do better, to understand that there are just certain things that we don't have to experience. We don't have to experience turmoil because there are certain things that, you know what, maybe I could have handled that better. That could have a different outcome. I'll give you another example today. I live in an apartment building, 7 floors, about 100, okay, not 100 apartments, maybe like 70 apartments in my building. And each building has an active driveway, meaning that we come in and out all day. Okay. I come back from picking up my lunch. There's an Amazon truck parked in the driveway. So when the driver comes out, I said to him, I said, there are a lot of parking spaces on this block. He was like, yeah. I said, sweetie, that didn't dawn on you that maybe, just maybe, of the choices that you had. Parking space right in front of the building, the entrance of the building for him to get in, to take the packages in, versus parking in front of an active garage. Knowing that you have to go through 7 floors to deliver these packages. He said, I didn't think about that. And I wanted to get angry. But that's when I had to realize, God, I said, your children don't even know this. There are so many people that don't even know that. Like when I operate, when I say to you, and I go outside, God, how do I get there? I know how I can get there. But God, how do I get there? You catch that? We know how to get there. There's multiple ways to get somewhere, right? So we know the way that we would go. But when you start to ask God, God, how do I get there? You're going to bypass trouble, traffic, stress, aggravation, because He's going to take you around, because God already knows what the direction that you're going to go, what you're going to face. So what I want us to do is just, in order for you to activate, you got to activate this, and you got to say, God, I need you to be a part of this with me, because I need your wisdom. I need I need to have common sense. I need to go in here knowing that I am doing and I'm acting in the best way that is not going to aggravate me. It's not going to aggravate anyone else. And I'm acting according to your will. Now, I also had to ask God, I said, God, why are people troubled by this? And this was a real this one really took me back. Proverbs 18 verse 1. Why are people upset? That's not a part of the scripture. Unfriendly people care only about themselves. But look at the latter part of that. They lash out at common sense. Because I'm up here like, again, I want us to have the best life. I want us to have the best relationship. Like I told the women in the 7 day group, I said to them, I said, I want God to become your best friend. Like, I want God to be everyone's best friend. So I had to get to a point where I understood that there's going to be some people who are never going to like anything that I teach, and they're always going to feel as though it's a personal attack or you just being mean. Don't lash out the fact that these are things that need to be taught. Like I said before, the in the Bible, common sense is mentioned over 18 times, and I guarantee you, I have never been somewhere that they ever taught about this. Some people don't even want to talk, don't want to teach about wisdom. So when we start talking about wisdom and common sense together, it seems like there's an attack. It seems like someone is being mean and condescending. No, I want you to understand that you can go to God and ask God, how do I navigate this situation? How do I get out of this problem? This is all that God needs from us. He just needs that from us. He needs us to get to a point where we just realize that, all right, I need to activate this, right? I want this type of activation. I want this relationship. I want to get to a point that everybody gonna think I'm a genius. When you operate at that level, you're operating from God. You're operating because He's leading, He's taking you. You're going to be driving the train, or not the train, Lord. Think about my sister. You're going to be driving the car, but it's really going to be the Holy Spirit driving, because now you have nothing but activation within you, activation of wisdom, right? So, this is why, I did a teaching. I do a lot of teaching, Lord. I did a teaching on knowledge, comprehension, and wisdom, right? And application. And that's really, a lot of people are stuck here. So God said to me, before we even get to the point of, getting the new knowledge, understanding what that is, and then also having the understanding of how to apply this, which is applying the wisdom, we got to get to a mental understanding. Because the one thing that I have been realizing also, and I'm seeing, is that people are cutting off the type of information. If it's not coming in the way that they're accustomed to it coming in, they're going to disregard that information. So this is another thing about knowledge. So this is the reason why, like I said, unless somebody seriously sat and read through the Bible, because again, I didn't even realize it was mentioned 18 times, at least 18 times that I have seen in the versions that I went through just in the hour before today. Okay. So when I started to understand that, it was like, wait, so where are people getting the information from? Because if they're not going to the Bible, they're not going to God, then where? So that you're already eliminating information. So you got to get an understanding. If you even want to get to wisdom, if you even want to get to that level with God, you got to understand that and take away the restrictions of how information is going to come to you. Take away those restrictions. It's not going to always come the way that you're accustomed to it coming to you. It's not going to always come. And it's the reason why people will lash out. People will lash out because, one, again, you're telling information that they feel as though that no one else should know, or that they think that people already know. And like I said, I was that person for a very long time. Like, I do believe, someone said to me one day, they was like, you were born with an extreme level of common sense. Someone also said to me, they was like, yeah, I think you've been around, like, this is like your fifth lifetime, fourth lifetime. And I do believe that. I'm like, God, I don't know why, because from a little girl, my mother can tell you, certain things have been bothering me since I was a little girl. But that is because I was always under the assumption that everyone knew this. But then I had to understand that a lot of people are not activating this. They're not going to God and saying, God, I need wisdom. God, I need common sense. God, I need this. God, I need that. You're only going to God when things are in desperation. And guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, when you go to God when things are really bad and you're really desperate, you're not even going to hear God, because you're going to be so anxious. You're not going to hear Him. He's going to be sitting here trying to give you all the answers. Like I said, those people on the Major Deegan, God was probably trying to tell them, go back, go back, go back, go back. And then people were like, no, but I have to go. And I'm going to get through my little Honda Civic, my little Nissan. Don't get me, I'm about to tell, I'm like Nissan or Altima. Yeah, Altima. My car's going to get through this 6 to 8 feet of water, which is really a pool on the Major Deegan. My car's going to get through that. No, if you would have sat and listened to God, God would have told you how to save your car. Because like I said, someone said to me, well, Tanisha, people had to get to work. I understand that, but I guarantee you they wasn't getting anywhere. They drove their car through that and they got nowhere. Nowhere fast. Imagine that. Like you're going nowhere fast. Okay? So we have to start activating. That's all that I want y'all to do. I want people to activate wisdom. I want y'all to activate it. I want you to go to God and just simply ask him. He is not going to rebuke you. God wants you to come to him for every single thing. So whatever it is that you don't have, you don't know the answers, not a problem. When you go to God and you say, God, give me the wisdom so I can solve this problem. Give me the wisdom so that I can get myself out of this situation. God, give me the wisdom. And then when you get to that level, then this is where, like I said, the common sense starts to happen. It starts to make sense because it's going to be a part of the success, right? This is where you're going to get the strength. You're going to get the insight. Like I said, to have that conversation with a young man who really did not understand the difference between why it didn't make sense for him to park in front of an active garage when there was ample parking in front of the building that he was making deliveries to. And that's what made me realize, God, everybody doesn't even know this. And then, like I said, when I wrote that post, I had people in my inbox who were like, that was mean. But it's not mean. Want to know why it's not mean? Because a lot of people are not out here speaking the truth. They're not helping people. See, I can be that person and constantly sit back and talk about people and never teach them this. And never open my mouth and say anything that's going to add value to them, to give them the principles and the guidance that they need to get to where they need to be. This is the reason why everybody is sitting in the same predicament in some situations, because someone has withheld this information. Now, it's a difference if someone actually taught us this and we just disregard it. Now, that's a total different situation because that happens as well. That happens the most. But when we just start to say, you know, with the assumption, because my assumption always has also been, they're not going to listen anyway. And that I don't believe anymore. I have to, no matter what, continue to do and speak the things that God needs me to speak, as unpopular as they are. I don't say these things. I don't do these things out of to be malicious. I do it because I love people and I want us to do better. A lot of us are not reaching the peak and the levels that we're supposed to because we are eliminating and we're not utilizing these simple principles because no one has taught you this. So you are acting out of blind faith. You are acting out because it's just no. Some of y'all that go to church, your pastors are not telling you this. Our teachers didn't tell us this. Some of my teachers told us this, right? But everyone didn't have a Miss Brown Hall. Everyone didn't have a Miss Frazier at CS21. I know that. So the people that didn't have that, I want to be able to be that voice for them. And if they're willing to listen, I'm willing to be able to help you so that you can navigate. Because this world that's happening right now, things are happening every single day. And every day we're seeing that people are not changing. And that's fine. But then we also see 2020. In 2020, they said that there were more Black and people of color business owners that were activated. Remember that? Remember what I said earlier? What did I say earlier? Something has to happen to ignite action. A pandemic had to happen. People had to just lose their jobs, had no money coming in. People were waiting for weeks before their first unemployment, but they still had bills. And guess what? They had to activate. And a lot of those people, you know what they did? They went to God. God, what do I do? God, what do I do? Do I bake? Do I, crochet? I was out here I mean, not that I didn't lose my job, but I was out, excuse me, I was out here helping professors because they didn't have the support that they needed to go from in person to online in a matter of seconds. So when we go to God and we're able to say, God, I need help me, and then he's going to give you a solution. And 9 times out of 10, and now we're going into the topic of purpose. 9 times out of 10, he will give you, all right, use this talent, use this gift. You already have this talent, you already have this gift. You don't have to learn anything new. Just start to use it. Start to use it, start to promote it. And next thing you know, we saw all these people out here making money. There's a young lady that I follow on Instagram. If you go, her Instagram is Cookie Crumbles with a K, right? Cookie Crumbles, both with a K. And I think she said that she made $1,000 her first week. She started making and baking these cookies over on the internet during the pandemic. 15 years old, 14, 15 years old. And she started to make these cookies. And the cookies are good now. I gotta stay away from her cookies now. So you go over there and you go get some, you support her. All right. But I think about that. Something had to happen to ignite change, to ignite some type of action to happen. So these things are constantly happening. And I'm seeing that there are men out here who don't, like I said, there are men out here, great men, but they don't have the wisdom. They don't know how to overcome these challenges. So when life starts to come and smack them, they start to run, they run and hide. They don't know what to do. They're waiting for the woman, their wife, to make all the decisions and for her to figure it out instead of them going to God and saying, God, how do I do this? God, should I? This don't feel right. What is this? Should I be doing this? That's where common sense comes in. Because it's like if it don't feel right, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, right? You turn in, you turn left, and for some reason you're turning left as if it's a one-way street, and it doesn't feel right because you notice that there are cars facing you. Common sense is going to tell you to do what? Move your behind over to the right side. But there are some people that never do that. They will still continue to drive on the left side, although there are cars facing them. But if they have God in that relationship with them, God is going to quickly start to tell them, pay attention, move to the right, pay attention, move to the right, pay attention, move to the right. This is what I'm talking about. This is how we can cause less accidents, right? So that people like me, my car insurance don't have to be sky high just because I live in Brooklyn. Do y'all see how these things connect to a bigger problem? See, when we are not utilizing these things and we are not allowing God to be an active participant in our lives, it makes other areas of our life stressful. I need people to think like that. If I utilize common sense and you utilize common sense, right? If you allow God to navigate and God navigates for you, I stay on the right, you stay on the left. No stress. But if I'm staying on the left and you also on the left, we're going to crash into one another. So now you and I both won't have a car, okay, for a couple of days or weeks or months. Your insurance is going to go up. My insurance is going to go up. And then the people around us, their insurance goes up. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that when you go and having a car accident, that if the person that my next door neighbor was decided to go get insurance today and there was an accident yesterday, that their insurance quote, if they got quoted last week for $297, when they go ahead and process for tomorrow or for today, it's going to probably go up to $305. Now, some of you are probably saying, but that's not a lot of money. But the things that we're doing that we think this is only about me has an impact on everyone. It ends up having an impact on the entire economy. I'm about to take an economics course because I started to realize as I was learning about stocks and trades and trade options, like it's really not even about the company. It's about what's going on in the globe, what's going on in the world. So when I started to realize, like, wait, I'm up here worrying about Apple going up to $163, but I'm not even realizing that Apple is now having a conversation with a company that's based out of China, but because China is now having you know, the new variant, because I know you start saying in certain terms, your lives go down. But new variant is going to have an impact. So now that device cannot, they cannot create that little piece to go for the new Apple whatever. Now the Apple stock is going to go down. Really? So when I started to understand that, this made this topic even more important and imperative, because it's like, wow, so me activating, having this certain level of understanding of what I'm doing is going to have an impact on those that I'm directly connected to, and it's going to have an impact to everyone else, and it's going to possibly have an impact to the entire globe. Guys, y'all got to understand how activating your wisdom, activating this relationship with God, and is allowing God to just take you places that you don't even know is going to be it's going to be so huge. You're going to start seeing that this is the reason why everyone has a purpose, right? And every day, like I always teach, purpose is not a big project. I used to teach it that way. Purpose is going to be like this big final project. No, it's not. Purpose is the things that we do on a daily basis. So activating our common sense and going and activating our wisdom and going and ask God for these answers is going to have an impact on every aspect and area of our lives. I'm just saying. All right. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. So I hope you guys are definitely, I hope this is resonating for you. I don't want to make this even long because I want people to actually to get through this. Okay. So I do want to say thank you so much for being here with me today, this evening. I know it was late. I do have something amazing. So if you want to join, text join right now to 855-781-5659 to be a part of my text community. All right, so text join to 855-781-5659 now, and you'll be able to get access to any of my videos that I do put out on YouTube. I was always send out links, any specials that I have, any exclusive teachings that I want to share with that text community, and just keep you up to date and send you inspirational messages, because that's what I do. Because I am Miss Inspiration. So I hope this message has definitely just been like super informative for you. Like I said, I don't want us to feel, I don't want to keep feeling bad and saying like, you know what, I think everyone should know this. This is the topic, like I said, I do this out of love. I do this out of love, and I do this so that we can continue to be better. All right. So I will be back. Okay. So thank you guys. And before I go, here's a special message for you.
And I have the Kindle version of your book. And like I said, I highly recommend this book. It is, and I've been, since I've been in Christ, past 12 years, I've read a lot of Christian books, but this book is, relationship wise, it is what you need. So you can get the understanding of, how do I choose the right person? How do I, overcome heartache, as we talked about? How do I get in the will of God? Get that book, order it, and read it, and be sure to, she definitely is anointed to serve God in this capacity. And we thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope this has touched and has blessed you. I am Tanisha Shanae. Have a good one. Be great.